We are going to jump into the Tamara Demko police interview today. We've already seen the Wendi Adelson interview. We discussed that, and we discussed the Jeffrey Lacoste police interview. And everyone's wondering, is Wendy going to get arrested? We know we have Donna's trial coming up. So all of these police interviews and all this information is going to be very relevant very soon. So I think it's good to take a deep dive into this stuff. Now, some people have been asking, well, why am I looking into the interviews now? Well, part of the reason is that I actually just got involved with the case pretty recently, so I haven't been able to do a deep dive into everything. But also, as we know, there's other trials that are going to be coming up, Donna possibly and Wendy, and it's going to be good to have a good working knowledge and analysis of these interviews. So today we're going to jump into the Tamara Demko interview. I do need to say that I was not able to watch and listen to it. The video that's been going around apparently is protected, and I think you have to be a member of that channel, which I am not. So I was not able to see and listen to it, but I did get a transcript, which was online, of the interview. So I'm assuming the transcript is accurate. I'll be reading from parts of the transcript and to bring out some of the points that she made, and eventually whether she feels that Harvey Adelson could be involved in the Dan Markel murder, or if at least he knew about it, maybe he was one of the co-conspirators, etc. Number one, I broke it up into a few different categories. Number one, what she says about Wendy. Number two, what she says about Danny. And number three, what she says about the divorce. And number four, what she says about Harvey. So first about Wendy, she says that it was very strange to her that Wendy already knew not to mention Dan in the book that she wrote, which came out a year before there's any sort of separation. So, this is what she said in her interview, at least according to the transcript, and that's what she found interesting. Wow, it seems like she already was planning the separation, planning the divorce already, even though they didn't get officially separated until much later after the book came out. Another thing she mentioned was that Wendy was the type of person, certainly when she was going through the divorce, that she'd make plans and cancel them all the time, or she would forget about them. Now, the reason why this is significant is because remember that Jeffrey Lacoste talked about the plan that they had to go to California just a week before the murder and get back even a day before the murder was supposed to happen, and she suddenly canceled the plans. She canceled the plans to go see, I believe it was California, his parents, right? So he thought that was so interesting. Why are you canceling the plans? Just because you want to be back to pick up the boys from school, right? She was going to pick up the boys. That's the next day. For sure would have been back by then. What is she doing? So that kind of suggests that she actually knew what was going on, and she was just nervous about making sure that she has to be in Tallahassee while the murder happened. For whatever reason, she felt that she had to be in Tallahassee for when the murder has happened. So a possible argument to be made is that, well, we see already from Tamara, we see from Jeffrey, then Jeffrey also admitted this in his interview, that she would cancel plans all the time. So she was the type of person that she just made plans, cancel them, or just forgot about them. Maybe when she was going through this divorce, and she'd make plans and then just cancel them. It was very moody at the time. So it doesn't necessarily point to the fact that she knew what was going on and that she knew that the murder was going to happen. Yes, it's possible she knew. We're not going to discount that side, but again, the fact that Tamara is confirming that she would always cancel her plans all the time, so then it doesn't, again, that's just would help be an argument for Wendy's side. Now, she also said that Wendy did hate being in Tallahassee, so that conforms with Jeffrey's testimony that she also hated, that Wendy hated being in Tallahassee. She also said, interesting, that she went on a walk with Wendy before she was going to get married to Danny, and she was talking about her doubts about why she was going ahead, but her doubts whether she can actually marry Danny. It seemed like she was having some really real struggles about whether she really wanted to marry Danny, and Tamara said, well, if you feel this way, then you shouldn't marry Danny. And it seems that also part of the reason why, from Tamara's interview, that seems that part of the reason why Wendy eventually did marry Danny is because the pressure from her parents, because she knew that her parents would like a person like Danny, who's such a scholar, went to Harvard, he's a legal scholar, like it's prestigious in a way, and seems like she felt some pressure from her parents. Now again, as we've heard in this case, it seems like Wendy is very pressured by her parents. She feels very strongly about her parents' opinion, and it could be that's actually what pushed her over the edge to actually go ahead and marry Danny. But she didn't, so anyway, so Tamara did mention that. She also said that she was furious, Wendy was furious when she found out that Amy, Danny's new girlfriend, after the divorce, was Skyping with the boys, that she was very upset about that. And then also something else that she said is that it was very interesting to her because she really expressed to Tamara. Wendy expressed to Tamara how much she really liked Jeffrey. And she was all excited about him. This is Tamara's observation of Wendy, that Wendy was all excited about him and was bragging about him and really, really liked Jeffrey. Now, some people feel that this all was just one big plan of Wendy to really just have Jeffrey as the fall guy, and all of this whole relationship wasn't real. It was just all part of the plan. And this, from Tamara, this is Tamara's observation, not knowing about any plan, seems that Wendy was going out of her way to say how amazing Jeffrey was. Now, it could be that that was all part of the plan. Yes, it's possible. It's all part of the plan to pretend that she's so into this new guy, Jeffrey, to make it look like this is just a regular boyfriend. But she did say that it seemed that she was very into him. And also, she mentioned that the fact that the way that Wendy left that marriage, the way that Wendy separated from Dan, that she just suddenly, when Dan left town, she went there with her parents and packed out and took some things and went to a secret apartment, and that whole planning made Tamara wonder about Wendy. Like, you planned this all, like it seems like everything was planned and executed. It made her wonder about Wendy's ability to carry out these type of nefarious plans. So something to think about. She also felt that it was very strange that Wendy didn't call her after Dan was married. She knew how close Tamara was with Danny, and when Danny was murdered, when she found out about it, she did not call Tamara. So that was also something that she thought was very strange. Now, what did she say about Danny? She said that Danny was just the most devoted father that she's ever seen. She's never seen such a devoted father. He would go to the preschool to just have snacks with them, which is so special, right? You just go to have snacks with them. And she said that Danny could be crass and condescending, that Harvard type where you can rub people the wrong way. He would use thick words. But over time, she said that it did mellow out and people began to like him. Once he got over that initial hump, he would be able to win people over by his, what she described as kind, self-deprecating, and silly sarcasm that he would put on. So eventually, it seems that he would come out a little bit snobby, at least initially. But then, after you got to know him a little bit, it seems like people actually took a liking to Danny. Now, while this is going on, Danny started a consulting business, and he was actually in the middle of consulting for a criminal defendant who was in New York. That was part of the suspects that maybe it had to do with something with his consulting job, that he was consulting as a criminal for the criminal defense attorney, apparently, in this case in New York, and that's when he was murdered. And it was interesting that she said that Danny was all about being fair to the defendants, making sure the defendants have a fair trial. So that's what she said about Wendy and Danny, essentially. And then she talks about the divorce. And the divorce, as we've heard, as she's confirmed, it was the nastiest divorce that she's ever seen. She said Danny went into a bitter depression, and she said something very interesting, which also shows a lot about Danny's character, that he felt always that he should have been, maybe he could be a better husband. And he was looking inward, meaning a lot of times when people are getting divorced, they're looking at it's all the other person's fault, and she needs to work on things, and she needs to be a better person, or better wife, or better mother, or whatever. And it seems from what Tamara is saying is that actually Danny was just the opposite. Danny was saying, I can be a better husband, I won't make her work so hard, we can work this out, we can still stay together as a family, and yet still, Wendy was not having any of it. Then she also talks about this idea that everyone would either feel you're on Team Wendy or Team Danny. Kind of how I feel. Like, why can't you just stay neutral? I would just be objective. But she wanted to just kind of stay in the middle. She just wanted to be not on Team Wendy, not on Team Danny. She was friends with both of them. Why can't she just be friends with both of them? But it was getting so nasty that if you would spend too much time with one side, then the other side would say, "Oh, you're on the other side's team, and I can't trust you." So it was getting ugly like that, and that made her feel very, very uncomfortable. Also, she talks about how it was getting ugly that both sides, Wendy and Danny, would go and meet with multiple attorneys so that they can be conflicted from representing the other person. Right? If you, as a client, go and tell, certainly in a divorce proceeding, if you consult with an attorney and tell them all about what's going on with your case and what arguments can be made and things like, just explaining the case to them, having an attorney-client relationship, then obviously that attorney is not able to then go and represent that Danny's wife, Wendy. She can't do that. He's conflicted out in the same way if Wendy would meet with that attorney first. So they were going around doing these things also. Really, again, a nasty move. Nasty moves. Seems like a very nasty divorce. Now, another thing that also bothered her is that when it was her turn, when it was Wendy's turn to take care of the boys, they would split the custody. When it was Wendy's turn to take care of the boys, a lot of times she wasn't even there. She wasn't even around. She'd leave town, and it was officially her time to take care of the boys, and she wouldn't even tell Danny, look, I have to be out of town anyway. You can have the boys. She would just leave them with other people, or she didn't even know Tamara said she didn't even know what she would do with the boys. But a lot of times that really upset Danny, that if you're leaving anyway, let the boys at least be with their father and not some stranger. So that was another part. And also she said also that she knew about this bomb that Danny was about to drop in the divorce filing, that he realized that Wendy falsified her financial disclosures, and there was really $500,000 that she did not disclose, and that would obviously have a big impact on the eventual settlement of the divorce. Now she talks about Harvey. All right, now let's get to the good part. She talks about Harvey. So what was her impression of Harvey? Well, this is what she says. I'm going to read it straight out from the transcript. This is when she's talking about when she met the father after the murder. Then her dad, who I've met a half a dozen times, Coral Springs up here, he gave me this look, and I don't know what my facial reaction was to it, but I'm almost positive it was one of suspicion and anger, because he can't even look me in the face today. And it was awkward, and it had never been before. So it's never been awkward before with Wendy's parents. All of a sudden now, after the murder, it started getting awkward with Harvey. That really bothered me. And then she says, and then when we locked eyes, it was like something transpired that didn't sit well with either one of us, I guess. And then today, he would not even look at me. I found that to be very unsettling. So she right away is sensing there's something going on here with Harvey. He is not happy with me right now. He's suspicious. Something just happened. Something happened. So that's what she is saying. It seems like she's saying that it could be Harvey was somewhat involved. And then she says the following statement. She says, I wouldn't put it past her father or even her brother to do something that she might not even be aware of, which I thought was a very interesting thing to say. That she wouldn't put it past Harvey, that Harvey may do something for his daughter, Wendy, that she might not even know about. So number one, she's quite clearly saying she feels that Harvey could be part of this. Number two, she's saying that it could be that they would do it, from her understanding of the relationship, it could be that they would do it without even Wendy knowing about it. So that could help Wendy out, right? Wendy's whole argument here is going to be that she doesn't know anything. She wasn't involved. Now I know there's a lot of arguments to be made that she did know. She drove to the scene. Yes, we spoke about all that. But here you have Tamara saying that from her understanding the relationship, she would not put it past them to do something like this without even Wendy knowing about it. So that right away can raise some flags as some potential arguments to be made for Wendy that she is actually did not know about this and could be her defense. All right, well that's it for now. Please, if you haven't yet, subscribe, like the video so we can continue bringing this analysis, this objective analysis as we know. And that'll be it for today. See you next time.